What's up, guys? Good evening. Welcome to Man's Hour 15. God, can't believe we're already at 15 episodes, man. Time just flies when you're having fun, as it were. I'm joined by a fellow gentleman of power, my good friend Sixer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, my guy, doing well. I'm looking forward to seeing you and the rest of our gang this weekend as we would have it. So, just getting the house ready to host you all.
Yeah, it should be a fun time. Good old classic Halloween weekend and party, costumes and booze and all the fun stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. But we are gathered here today to discuss a very interesting topic that you and I have been meaning to do for a while. Here, we had a conversation about this not too long ago about uh, basically like LARPing and internalizing red pill truths and making it true for you. And the reason why I kind of wanted to address this is you'll have a lot of guys that are maybe like loosely aware of we call it like red pill topics, and they basically will kind of dip their toes into it, or some might call them like mental masturbators and stuff, and will just go out and read a bunch of the material, but never actually like internalize it or make it true for them, for lack of a better word. So I wanted to address this topic and how do you go from a guy who was essentially like blue pilled from the the old days of your conditioning from a small boy, and then you are familiar with the the material, or you just get red pill by naturally being in the world and realizing you've been lied to. How do you go through the process of actually making it true for you and kind of changing your personality around this new information and actionable advice that we can give to guys? So I thought you'd be the perfect guy to have on to discuss this.
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. And, as you said, something in one's life generally happens to get them into this space. There's obviously certain people, the high school quarterbacks of the world who are naturally like this. They're just genuinely based as fuck. They get what they want, high school quarterback, get the cheerleading captain, go to prom with her, et cetera, et cetera. They never have to learn this content. Maybe in much later in life, depending on how their career goes, maybe they do. And then there are the guys who, a lot more average or maybe nerdier in high school. And then you get into a situation where you're like, how do I make this self-improvement? How do I make these changes? And initially, some of the stuff you can do is super easy. You can start with just working out, and then it's just so it's let me think about how I want to phrase this. It is like working out insofar as it is not just the benefit of working out where you're getting more jacked. It's like that underlying confidence. That's kind of what under like internalizing the red pill is. It's you're not just knowing the literature, you're not just working out, you're not just getting those mental muscles, but like that is who and what you are on a day-to-day basis. The most attractive change you get when you work out isn't the muscles, it's the confidence you get from the muscles. It's kind of the same thing here. Knowing these topics alone isn't the best part. The best part is when you can internalize them and really flex them and just have that be your personality.
Yeah, exactly. You as far as like game is concerned and such like that, you just want it to be reflexive. You don't want to be the guy that is just memorizing cold approaches from Troy Francis or James Tusk or any of these other POA coaches. Even though they are really good guys and they are masters of the craft, you don't want to just be caught in a deer in the headlights memorizing lines and everything, and then when you actually get into a situation with a girl in real life and she goes off script, you're just standing there with your dick in your hand and you don't know what to do. You want to understand the underlying principles as to why things work, and then you want to practice and hone your own craft and develop your own game outside of that, because my game is going to be different than yours, is going to be different from anyone listening, is going to be different from guys like Troy or James or anything like that. And this is obviously super observable when just you and I are in person, because you and I game very differently as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that in terms of, you mentioned how do you practice this? How do you make this part of your personality? Never turn it off, I think is like the key here. Whenever it's going to be you, me, and our high school boys this weekend, like it is always on for me. I am always like to an extent peacocking. I am always to an extent like taking charge and leading. You have noticed that with me with our friend group. It's just something you have to always be doing. My girlfriend will be there part of the weekend and she won't be there other parts of the weekend because she works Saturday. And I'm going to act the same the entire fucking time. And I act the same whether it's just me and her or just me and you. I am always that. I always want to just have as much confidence and as much of that, you know, the attributes akin to game, like confidence. I want to be working to exude that at all times.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, you just you become the game. That's what you want out of this whole thing. Nobody's in control of, the goals, your own personality, outside of yourself. You fundamentally are in charge of the kind of person that you want to be. And people can judge you for that. People can, make fun of you for it. People can do whatever they want for it. But at the end of the day, you're in charge of your own destiny with this kind of stuff. So if you want to make the changes from like nice guy behaviors or something like that, and you want to make a change to being more successful in this space, it's totally up to you, man. And eventually once you internalize it and you act it out in the real life, I mean, there's definitely some. You know what? Let's actually get into this topic. This is pretty good. What do you think about the statement "fake it till you make it"?
It's 1,000,000% true. It's very common in my profession with a lot of the younger individuals in my profession. As you know, it's a little bit more higher pressure, higher stress, and to be honest, none of us fucking know what we're doing the first several years in it. And it's 100% true. You have to act like you know what you're doing. Um, Whether or not you believe you can walk into a room and say, "What up, bitch," to a girl, like whether or not you believe that you can do that is irrelevant. What matters is, can you get everyone else in the room? Can you get her to believe that that's just how you talk? And Patrice O'Neill did a great little piece on this where he talks about, he can just say, "Yo, bitch," to a woman and it's fine because they truly believe that's how he talks. That's just how it is. He's not being weird. He's not being like abusive, massage. He's just like, that's who he is. That's how he views women. And like, oh, that's Patrice. Can you get people to believe that? And obviously, a cold approach with someone new, that's very, very difficult. And you have to just have that perfect amount of confidence. But you can build that. It starts off whenever whenever you're talking to the boys and you're like, "What up, uh, bundles of sticks? What up, bitches?" To your homies, and it just becomes second nature to insult them in like that joking way. Then you can do it with like female platonic friend, and you just like build up until you can just like say this off the cuff shit that you're not being mean, but you're just like throwing around like, I have this energy, I say what I want, like all love, but this is how it is.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of like the giving shit to your guys and everything is kind of like training wheels for the shit test that women will give you. And you can use like agree and amplify essentially, with your buddies. Like your buddies will call you like a bundle of sticks, and you'll just be like, just totally buy into it. Basically, agree and amplify. And the same tricks are useful for when you're actually doing an approach with women. She says like, "Oh, I bet you say this to all the girls," and you say, "Absolutely," or you just completely agree and amplify.
That line right there, agreeing and I've actually not heard that term. As we've discussed, well, I have um lived some of these truths for a while since our college days. A lot of the terminology I've only really gotten into recently over the past year or so from you. I've never heard that, but that is so true. Um, it's like, if I'm making the decision on something, or if I say this weekend, "Hey, we're going to this bar next," and and one of our buddies' girlfriends says, "Oh, who made you king?" I'll just be like, "Didn't you get the memo? Like everyone knows this." You
Yeah,
know, it's
exactly.
it's just, "Sweetie, that's how it is." And if you say it just like that, where you just totally believe it, and you're being nice, like smile on your face, like you can. And I see Toots in the chat there. It's a fun one. If you
Mhm.
believe it, you can get away with that shit the entire time. It's if you like say it with like a weird face, or if you don't really believe it, or if you come off as like genuinely mean, you just have to like, that's your goofy personality, but like that is what it is.
Yeah, what you're talking about is calibration. Basically, like if you're saying it, stern, stone cold, or in a joking manner or something, not with like a, you know, eye contact, looking down at your feet, or cracking voice, or like like stuttering your words and stuff like that. Like it's never going to work. You just have to exude this confidence that yeah, I am this guy. I am allowed to exert my boundaries in a certain way. I'm allowed to get what I want, and nobody can tell me otherwise. I've been hammering this a lot lately, and I'm looking forward to doing a stream on this in the future. I'm going to get a couple guys. We're gonna review Bronze Age mindset, and one of BAP's biggest points in that whole book is the concept of own space. And I'm firmly in the camp that this is one of the central tenets, if not the most central, of what is a man, crafting your own space. Carving out your little niche in the world. Your own personality, and everything inside of it is in your control, and everything outside of it is just something you can make fun of, or you just conquer over it. It's just not outside your purview. So this whole process that we're talking about is essentially you crafting your own space, and it starts small. Especially if you're coming out from a let's say a position of weakness in this sphere, but eventually you can get better, and just little by little, you can craft your own personality to get what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it starts out, as I said, you're doing it with your homies or with, female friends or girlfriends or friends. You just like build that confidence. And it gets to the point where, then you're at a party and you're with friends and you're with, their girlfriends or their friends. And then you approach a different girl or you're interacting with a different girl and you talk that way. She sees everyone else there just being like, oh yeah, just believing it. It is so easy if you are in a group that already believes it to then branch that off into a new person who then will believe it, and you kind of like almost keep the lie going in a telephone sort of way. I'll actually go back to, I think it was 2 years ago, a Halloween party we were at in my city, although not at my house. And our buddy's friend, his out of town chick friend from DC, who I ended up hooking up with, she saw me interacting with all of you guys, where I'm just like big dick swinging, like, this is how it is, like, what up, bitch, like, nice to meet you or whatever, like, and I got away with all that, not because I'm special or because I'm anything like that, but it's because I acted like I believed it. And then I had the backup of everyone there, whether it was you guys, whether it was the guy who was hosting, his girlfriend. They just all fucking were like, oh, yeah, that's Nick. So then this new girl, her only impression is, oh, wow, Nick's super confident. Like, Nick, like they all, like, he can get away with this. They all are like, oh, that's normal. So I go back to like a lot of this stuff is fucking near impossible for cold approaches and for all this stuff unless you're like cream of the crop, which is fine. But whenever you're just like, so many interactions you're going to have with women in today's age, if you're not doing it off the dating apps, are going to be meeting through friends of friends. So if you start out by internalizing this personality and how you talk around your friends, then when the friends of friends come around, it's going to be so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just, I'll use another example. I mean, we talked about this before, Eric, that we were going to give examples and we'll just give each other fake names. But, I remember like something exactly from that party as well is that, I, I think this chick actually, if I remember correctly, she came up to me and said, oh, Nick said this certain thing. And the other thing is like, when you're in a group of guys like this, you can vibe off of each other and amplify, off the other guy and boost him up kind of like, you know, when you get like really successful and you have other guys in your friend group that are also really switched on, you're not really, competing for the same girl, so to speak, because you guys are both like pretty satisfied. So like you could kind of vibe off of each other and kind of give, other girls like a social proof, as it were, as to what you are. And you should always be, giving your guys, one ups and everything to make their life easier. I shared the story before in a previous stream, and this was a couple months back when I was with a another friend of ours in a town that's a decent miles drive from me, and I went and visited him for the weekend, and I was doing some approaches, and he came over and he just completely fucked up one of my approaches by I was doing an approach and he came over and he came in and sandbagged me, as we like to call it. He's just giving jokes about me and the thing. And of course, like when the chick left, I punched him in the shoulder and everything. But like, you could kind of do that if you're joking around and everything like that. But you should always be like boosting up your other guys, making it easier for them because it's already as difficult as it is. But social proof is really easy for you.
No, whenever you started, even before you got into that story, that immediately came to mind. Um, because because that's just that's so on brand for him, and he has a long-term girlfriend, so it's not like he was competing with you. He's just an idiot and didn't understand, like, boost up your boys, and that matters so much in this regard. um to just, if you see your homie working game, like, and don't go over and like make it obvious or absurd, like, oh yeah, he just saved 17 orphans from a fire. But it's just like, you vibe off them, you defer to them, you act like they're kind of the alpha in that situation, because then the chick will pick up on that, and oh, they do the same for you, and that's just, it is how it is. Um, but yeah, that's our one buddy is totally fucking oblivious to that stuff.
Yeah, he can be. He can be a little bit of a piece of work. I mean, it kind of depends because like I've had great nights out just sarging with him, and I've had not so great nights sarging out with him. We've mentioned this before on previous streams, but he's like kind of like half switched on. He's not like full switched on like you and I are, but
He's always 2 years behind us.
oh my god, yeah, it's so true. It's so funny. Like on a different subject, but like we're in like a group chat and everything, and we'll be talking about like politics and stuff sometimes in the chat. And like he's like, "Oh man, did you guys like know about Murray Rothbard?" I'm like, "Dude, you're fucking 2 years behind, man." But he'll get there eventually. It's always funny, you know. Uh, but anyhow, one of the things I wanted to touch on real quick before it slipped away from us. It's not just like we were given this example at that party a couple of years ago, but it's not just that you're walking around and you're faking the energy. Like on top of that, like you are a successful guy. Like it's not just backed up by nothing. Like you got a good career, you got good finances, you got good looks. You do have like good game and everything like this. You expect this kind of reaction from women. You're used to getting this kind of behavior and everything like that. So it's not just a character you're playing. It always is that when you start because you haven't turned into this kind of person yet. But you keep on doing the same thing, and eventually you're not playing a character anymore. It literally is just what you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I appreciate the compliments there. But none of that also, the reason why I phrased it the way I did is I want this to be relatable, and I truly believe pretty much any guy in today's world, while it may seem harder than ever, I think it's easier. There is so little competition of men in their late 20s. Um, if you work out 4 times a week, have a decent career, or at least one that, like, the average wage in America is something like 40 grand.
It's
If you have
less
a
than that.
decent if you have a
Yeah.
decent career, you're going to be making double that by the time you're in your late 20s, early 30s. If you work out 4 times a week, have that going for you, and just like have very basic social skills and ability to make jokes, it is so easy to run game. And it is so easy to be successful in today's spheres, because so many guys our age are fat or lazy or shit job, or are already married, because like a lot of the good guys get snapped up in college by a girl who got their teeth into him, and he is off the market. So I do think that in America today, there's not a ton of competition for guys in their late 20s. Now, do women still have impossibly high standards because they've been told by society that the average man is 6'1" with 150K salary and a house and whatever? Yeah, but that being said, you can get close to that without a ton of effort. I mean, height is really the only thing you have no control over, and I obviously got really lucky with that. But other than that, if you work out 4 times a week, have a decent career, and are funny, like, you're ahead of 80% of American men our age, if not more.
Yeah, honestly, and talking about, like building this character for you, faking it till you make it as you were, like one of the best qualities you can have for a game and just social situations. Number one is just, yeah, I tell guys this all the time. Like, if you really want to like be sociable in a party atmosphere or something like that, just ask other people about themselves and just barely talk yourself. You can literally just go, uh huh, yeah, uh huh. Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. And immediately when you leave the conversation, the other person's going to be like, wow, I really like that guy. People just want to hear themselves talk, man. At the end of the day, it's really not that difficult. And then another thing, to learn about humor, just go binge a shitload of like Netflix comedy specials, man. It's super easy to do. There's so much comedy out there these days that nobody could possibly have watched it all. So literally just start memorizing lines, start memorizing jokes, learn how to inject them in certain parts of the conversation, and you're just going to pick up on this kind of humor, and it'll work for you in the future. Like again, man, or even when you're doing like cold approaches, just use the same lines, man. Or when you're using an approach in a dating app, like all's fair in love and war, man. Nobody knows like what you're doing behind the scenes, like with the other 15 girls you approached today or something like that. Who cares? Just go for it and hone your craft as you go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, I just saw one of the comments. Someone mentioned that they passed their private pilot certification. Do you understand just that alone? Like how desirable that can make you? If you have a decent career, work out 4 times a week, and you're a fucking private pilot certification, like if you're at a party and you talk to some girl for a bit, ask her a little bit about your more or about herself more. Don't brag about yourself too much. Don't mention you're a pilot. And then, you walk away and later, one of your buddies here with like mentions to her, oh yeah, like that's so and so. That's, we'll say Nick, like he's a pilot. She's gonna be like, and he didn't even mention that. That's so interesting. That's so cool. Like little stuff like that. And I don't want to say that's little stuff. That's awesome. You said they dig it. Like that's a sick fucking thing. That is probably great for picking up, but it's not that like you know get something like that. Or I went to Croatia and other places in Europe this past summer. Go on a big trip and don't talk about it, but have a reason for it to come up, or just whenever it comes up, like be interesting, and then don't say you're interesting, because it'll come up, at least in these more group settings. I guess with cold approaches it's a little different, but
Yeah, I mean, lucky for Zach here in the chat, the on dating apps, the number one most attractive job rated by the data was a pilot. The second one was firefighter. So nice work, man. Keep using that to your advantage, and good luck to you. That's awesome. And my friend Dr. Prepper brings up an interesting point here. Don't internalize blue pill truths in those comedies. Yeah, I mean, the thing is like once you become red pill and you're aware of this kind of stuff, you really just are really going to have a really tough time going back. And this can kind of segue into another topic that I wanted to address. So commonly, you hear the phrase like the red pill and the blue pill. And then there's another phrase being purple pilled, which is kind of in the middle. And purple pilled is probably the most dangerous of the three, because what this tends to happen is a guy will kind of use red pill truths and game tactics and things like that to get a girl in his purview and everything like that, and then he thinks he could just switch it off. He's like, okay, I got her in, I fooled her, I got her into this circumstance, I got her into the relationship, and now I could really just be myself and be me. And no, that's not how it works, man. You have to understand that you need to reject the blue pill in its entirety, because it's fundamentally not true. It's built on a false set of programming, false pretenses around the world. It's like believing gravity isn't real. Like you have to understand that you have to cast off this kind of stuff, and you just have to be the game at all times. And once you get those things internalized, this is when you can forge a really successful life for yourself. And this is honestly the biggest problem with early pickup artists in the 90s. People like Rouge V, basically, like they could get girls with the red pill tactics and everything, but they couldn't keep them around, because the second they got the girls in, they didn't have their internal game set up, they didn't have their personality set up, they didn't have their lives in order, and they were essentially just trying to trick women into getting into relationships with them. And once girls saw past all the magic tricks, so to speak, they just left them and they were crushed for it. And we've learned from this point that that's not what you got to do.
yeah, well, that's also so much of fucking modern media, especially in America, is this, girls want a Prince Charming, girls want the nice guy. And then I think some guys, as you said, take the purple pill, get halfway there, like, oh, that's what they want eventually, but you gotta, get them at first with, being the fake asshole, haha. And it's like, no, you have to not genuinely be like mean ever, but you have to consistently be like that game. Like what got you a girl will keep you that girl. And it will not change. And I'm going to cite to Patrice again, because he is, as far as I'm concerned, the GOAT in terms of entertaining and conveying um, actionable advice. And he likens being a guy picking up girls. You're a fisherman with a boat, and you catch a fish, you throw it back, you show it off to your friends, haha, look at the size of this one, whatever. um, And then eventually fish stays on and you got yourself a girlfriend and the fish nags you, oh, why do you need a boat? And the idea is, well, once you lose the boat, then she starts nagging you. You don't even have a boat. And the point of that is, if you stop exuding that same confidence that got you her and that gets you to pick up girls, she is going to think you can't get girls anymore and you are going to become unattractive. No one, male or female, is attracted to someone or is as attracted to their partner or whomever if they think they can't get any anymore. Like, why would you be? There's less competition. This is all like very basic human psych stuff. You want what other people want. You want what other people can't have. So if you, take the purple pill, as you say, and do this half-ass bullshit after, you're going to be less attractive.
Yeah, very true. Think of it in the same way as like if your girl gets fat or something and you're just no longer attracted to her. It's kind of the same thing. Girls aren't as visually oriented as guys are, of course, but if you're not giving her this kind of manly confidence and this bravado and everything like that women are really looking for and really attracted to, and you just decide you can turn it off once you get into a long-term relationship or a marriage or something like that, and you're like, oh, now I can take a break. The hard work's over. It's like, no, that's not how it works because now you're no longer attractive to the girl. It's not what she's looking for, and she's going to go look for it elsewhere. So you just got to understand that these aren't like simple parlor tricks or something that for you to weave around women's feminine intuition to get in their pants or something like that, and then you can truly show who you really are. It's like, no, that's not what it is. The tricks and the tactics work because it's what women are looking for. It's not a trick to get around them. It's what they actually want. So you have to actually be what they want to be in a relationship with them. It's no different than like a girl who's putting on like what are those fucking things, those fucking shorts and those tight dresses that hide the fat or something like that. And then, well, when you take the clothes off, all the fat comes out. It's like, fuck that. I ain't interested in that. Nobody is. It's the exact same thing. You're basically catfishing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, dude. And you got to be on with the stuff. With my long-term girlfriend now, if after a few months into dating, I just started fucking wanting to watch rom-coms and braiding her hair and being like, "Oh, you're so pretty, you're so nice. Let me give you a back rub every night." Like,
Oh my god, I'd punch you first of
yeah,
all, but
first, okay, yeah, she's going to love that for about a week and then she's going to be like, "Where what happened?"
yeah,
Like,
why is this guy being a pussy?
yeah, why am I not, being a fucking man about shit? Like, if I'm not that, like, a lot of the things early on that got her attracted to me. Really focused on my career, really care about getting to the gym. I'm disciplined. I run when I need to run. I lift when I need to lift. I work when I need to work. Hey, I can't hang out tonight anymore. I got to work. If I just suddenly became always available and, slacking off in the gym is a big one for guys whenever they get into relationships and all this stuff. If you change, they're not going to like you. Like, you're not going to like a chick if, oh, well, wow, initially she was giving me a great head and, and doing like washing the dishes and cleaning. And then she stops doing that after she gets comfortable in 3 or 4 months. You're not going to find her attractive anymore. It's the same thing. Do what got the other person to find you attractive. It is not that hard.
Yeah, exactly. Guys just really struggle with this though, man, because they've been fed all these lies that oh, the girl's really gonna love me for me, or some other such bullshit nonsense. Like they really like the nice guy or something like that. It's like, no, it's a crock of horse shit. It's never been true, and it's been lies fed to us the last 60 years by making us more feminine and everything by the world we're living in and everything like that. And you just gotta understand that if it's all lies, and you can rise above it, and anyone that tells you otherwise, it doesn't have your best interests at heart, and you are totally within your right to basically tell them to fuck off, for lack of a better word. You're in control of your own destiny, man. The quest for own space. I keep saying it, man. No one's coming to save you.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. A thought I had is, I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase, "Every guy wants a good girl who will be bad just for him,"
Yeah,
right?
absolutely true.
Yes, absolutely true. And I was thinking of, what is the analog to that, or is there an analog to that? And I think it's, every girl, it's something to the effect of every girl wants the guy who's an asshole. And I don't mean actually an asshole. I mean like the, joking around, Patrice O'Neill, you're an asshole. Every girl wants an asshole who will be nice when he needs to be. Like about 5% of the time, 2 to 5% of the time, you do need to turn the game off, and you do need to like be like, hey, let me take care of you. Like, okay, like this bad thing happened, and you need to like go into that mode. But like that needs to be like a rare thing where it's like you are yourself, you are the game, but you can be like the person she wants to be with, like the long term, like nice person in those certain situations where she needs it.
Yeah, I mean, benevolent dictator, is the term we like to use, and yeah, it's 100% true. Like this isn't to say like everyone is like 69 420 super alpha Rambo bro, and I never show emotion at any time, and I'm only alpha 365 a day, and talking to a girl about feelings is gay. Like no, it's none of that bullshit. Like you got to understand, and I keep hammering this all the time, is that you need both alpha and beta traits, especially in a long-term relationship, to make it fruitful in the long term. Because girls are emotional creatures, man. Like that, they're absolutely nuts. They need like a hard rock, to attach themselves to. When something crazy happens to them or something like that. Like so you got to be there for her. Yeah, she's gonna cry and do weird stuff all the time and be emotional. It's just what they are. So like it's not appropriate for you to be in a circumstance like, just playfully pulling her hair or slapping her ass or something when she really wants to be emotional about something. It's like, yeah, just be there, suck it up, and deal with it, and just listen. Like chicks always hate it when, have you ever seen the meme? Like the chick is sitting on the couch and she wants to explain her problems, and she's talking about this nail, and there's a nail protruding out of her forehead, and the guy is doing nothing but giving her responses about taking the nail out of the forehead. She's like, it's not about the nail.
Dude, that is so painfully true. And I head that off. And I don't think people can do this right off the bat, but I've gotten to the point where I've made jokes about it, and now I say literally, do you want a solution or do you want to just talk about it? And I've told my girlfriend, I'm like, I love you, but I'm not the type of person to just talk about things with. I'm like, if you need help solving a problem, you tell me and I'll get it solved. If you need to talk about a problem, like go call, the other her other friends, um, who we both know who they are. Um, like go call this chick friend, go call that chick friend if you just want to talk about it. Like I am I like to convey myself, and I think this is going back to the theme of internalizing the game. Like, what are you? I'm a problem solver. If you have a problem, you tell me and I'll fix it. Like, I think one of the best things a guy can do is if their girlfriend is really upset about something and they're starting to like frustrate and cry like girls sometimes do, to just say, look, I'm going to fix it. Go, here's a glass of tea. Go sit for a second. And then you fix the fucking problem. Um, and I think that if you can convey that you can actually are capable of that, I think she'll take that trade off every time of like, okay, I'll go talk to my girlfriend. I just need to talk. If you're being the fucking problem solver alpha, like, I'll get the shit done that needs to get done. Don't bother me with the dumb shit. I don't care that you want to cry because you're on your period and you spilled tea on this white blouse.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Like, you're the guy who takes care of the issues. You're the guy who's the emotional rock. You're not there to, cry in front of your girl or anything like that. She isn't equipped for it. She isn't there to handle it. And you're not supposed to put on, all this basic extra drama on top of her already not rational brain to make her, feel all these other different things. It's just you're there to solve problems, basically. You're there to open the pickle jar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that my girlfriend has seen me cry exactly once in our over year-long relationship, and that was we made a brief stop at the cemetery where a relative of mine is buried. I shed a few tears. We moved it along, and I don't think that's unattractive in the least. I think that that shows like, you know, I I am healthy. I'm emotionally mature. This is a mature response. All right, we'll keep it moving though. Like I'm not going to stop my life for this.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a good comment here in the chat. It's like, you guys make it sound so easy. I dig it. And it's like, well, the reason why it sounds so easy is because we've internalized this kind of stuff. And this actually is a good segue into one of the other things I really wanted to, talk about here. And this is when we can get into our, I always say, one of my things I say is that every man needs a healthy level of misogyny in his life. And, this is when we can get into something like this where internalizing I guess just general concepts about men and women and intersexual dynamics and basically how the relationship game is played, and just basically understanding that uh, no, you're not crazy for believing these things. You're not nuts. It's society that's completely off the fucking rails and doesn't understand any of this nonsense. So fuck them basically if they try to shame you for it. But it's like you basically just have to acknowledge and understand what women are and what men are, basically. And once you really understand that, you don't make these kind of foolish mistakes like expecting a girl to do things that she's not qualified for doing, or or anything else like that. You just understand your role and you know what her role is, and you don't expect anything that she can't provide. So these are the kinds of things that you really need to just be second nature to you. It's like this is going to sound misogynistic, but we're going to say it anyway. I do not respect women in any positions of authority, period. Because I just know that it's a completely artificial environment for her to be in, aside from, a matriarchal standpoint, like a grandmother, an aunt, your mother, something like that. Any woman who's in charge of you, like in the workforce, is basically literally just put there affirmative action wise or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous.
You and I do disagree on that because I think that I have a few comments, and I'm gonna start with the first one. So bear with me here. The first one is, as you mentioned, the guy in the chat. You guys make it sound so easy. I dig it. Like this isn't. There are very few people. Yeah, you have the high school quarterbacks in Texas who are born like it. I was not born like this. Hawk was. I almost said your real name. Jesus. Hawk was certainly not born like this. Um, I went to college a virgin, and the first girl I slept with, this girlfriend who I thought I was in love with and was going to be my wife, ended up cheating on me. Like I got shafted and was a nerd loser. Like that's why I am the way I am. It's not like anyone, myself or Red Hawk, are just naturally gifted in this way. But that being said, you can be someone who went to college a virgin and then got cheated on by the girl you thought you would marry, and then you can have a ton of success.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's a white pill, and that literally anyone can do this. It is so easy. Like it might take a while to get there, but you will.
Yeah,
The set.
exactly. I mean, we all have our struggles, man. Like you said that I didn't start out this way, and goddamn, is that fucking true? I've got a shitload of mistakes that you're well aware with, or well aware of. Sorry to, we can make a whole stream about it just in that of ourselves. Maybe we should actually do that one day, like dealing with failure or something like that. That could be kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, you just roll with the punches, man. You learn from your mistakes, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. You live and you learn, and it gets better. And then my next point that I wanted to make, because I had a few on my mind there, you mentioned once you know this, once you know the truths and once you believe them, everything becomes easier. And I'm going to liken it to it's like playing chess, except for you have been playing without knowing how any of the pieces are allowed to move. You just find out as you play. And then you can't plan ahead, and then you're constantly getting your shit kicked in every time you try to pick up a chick because you don't know how any of the pieces move. You don't know what goes where. You can't plan ahead. You're going to try to do the wrong fucking thing, and then you're going to be flat on your ass real quick. So it's literally learning the rules of any game, whether it's chess, whether it's whatever it is. Like this is just a game, and once you learn how the pieces move, everything becomes so much easier. um
Yeah,
oh my god,
it's a pretty good analogy.
Zach's most recent chat. I'm gonna die. That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if you saw the bottom one.
Oh yeah,
If only. Oh no, I was gonna
yeah,
get
yeah.
kicked off
No,
YouTube real
yeah.
quick.
I love the nation of Israel. Like I support it in all its forms, and stand with Kanye West. Uh, but anywho, like yeah, of course, like I really like that chess analogy. Actually, I might steal that from you and use it at some point. But yeah, very aptly put, so to speak, and it's really funny, because once you start picking up this kind of stuff and you start observing it in the real world in a lot of circumstances and everything like this, you're just kind of like, and everyone else is like surprised by certain things, like I do this all the time, like on Twitter or something like that, like some headline will come up like a girl like cheats on a guy or something like that, and you're like, oh well, fucking shocker, like surprise. And also like that's an extremely good tactic you can use as well. Like let's say like you have a girl like in your relationship or something like that. Um, basically like it's basically like turning on God mode essentially when you point out like the flaws in somebody else's relationship. You're like, oh, that's not gonna last very long. And she's like, oh my God, you're a fucking mind reader when things inevitably fail. So again, just
Dude,
another thing of like social proof.
dude, our one friend who we're gonna be seeing who lives in the same city as me, and I said I mean, you and I talked about it. We both came to the conclusion. And I
Yeah.
told my girlfriend, like, fucking 2 months ago, they're going to be done. Like, she is going to leave him. And my girlfriend couldn't see it. And it's because, she, is a woman, doesn't have to learn game, doesn't have to learn uh, these dichotomies, these interactions. She's like, what? No, they're great together. And lo and behold, a month ago, we hear about her being, acting questionably with other individuals. This shit is it's so self-proving every time. Like, it's actually mind-boggling how, and you mentioned, you see this, like, so and so cheated on so and so. If you're in the chat, look at people in your life who got cheated on. Most of the time you can see it coming. Like, genuinely. And it's not because they deserve to get cheated on, but it's like oh, well, yeah, like, they were trying to do distance, or they were trying to do this or that, or he wasn't a fucking, like, take charge type dude and he was passive to her. Like, if you play stupid games, if you play the games incorrectly, you are going to get burned.
Yeah, very much so. And when we had this conversation not too long ago on the phone, we brought up an example again with this one guy that we knew, and as we were like having our back and forth conversations as we do, trying to figure this shit out and everything like that. I mean, one of these days we really should just hop on a call and like just have one of these conversations and literally just go through our maddening, Doctor Evil thought processes. But anywho, like we're bringing up this with our other guy, and we basically gave the example like if our friend like walked into the room because like he's in the same group chats as all of us like and you and I like we don't turn off like our switched on this like our red pill truths and everything when we're in these kind of chats and everything like that, but some of the other guys in our group kind of just like wave it off like, oh, that's just them, that's just so and so, they just act that way, they just say shit like that, whoop-de-doo. But because it's actually true for us and we actually memorize it and actually internalize it, it is who we are. It'd be totally different. He walked in like to the room or something and just called like some girl in the room a bitch. We're like, dude, you fucking faker. Like
Dude, no one would everyone would be like, "What?"
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's
No one will
like
believe
everyone
it.
would just be so confused. And genuinely, like, his girlfriend, I very nice. I would be like, "Yo, what up, bitch?" Or like, "What up, slut?" Like, I would just say that to her, and he would like, that's just who I am, and I can say that to her, and she loves me. Like, she's cool with it. It is what it is. If he said, "What's up, bitch?" to my girlfriend, I think everyone in the room would stop what they were doing, like, drop their like glasses on the like glass would shatter. Everyone would be like, "What is wrong with you?
Yeah, you can hear
Why
like a
would you
fucking pin
say
drop.
that?"
Yeah.
It's and that's kind of a cautionary tale to, like, as you are trying to incorporate stuff like this in your life, it is a process. Do not go up to a random girl, or do not just start spouting off "What up, bitch? What up, hoe?" to women. It will not go well for you. But if you build it up over time, build up your personality, your bravado over time, you will be able to just, like, be the funny asshole who can say that shit and get away with it. Oh, that's just how he is.
Yeah, I got a good example from a couple of weeks back, and I told you this story. I'm actually writing a Substack piece about this. I'm a field report about this, but haven't really decided if I wanted to release it yet because it's a little bit edgy. But anywho, I'll give you guys a little spoiler of it right now. So I was at a Fourth of July party not too long ago. Back during the summer, and I was there with some buddies for a lake party and everything. And there was a couple new girls there I had never met before, and there was another girl there previously who I'd fooled around with previously, but she's got a boyfriend now. And basically, like we get in there into the circumstance, and I'm just behaving like the asshole, like I always do, the funny and lovely one. And um, one of the groups of people was having a conversation on the side about this one girl and what her job is, and she works with like special needs kids and stuff like that. And one of the other guys in the room said the word retarded, and she's like, "No, I don't, I don't really feel that great about that word and stuff like that. It's not something I really want to do." And then lo and behold, like 15 minutes later in the conversation, someone told me, it's like, hey, you're gonna take off your backpack. I had a bunch of beer in there and stuff like that. I was just standing in the middle of the room, like drinking beer, and they're like, hey, you're gonna take off your backpack and join us. And I just said to everyone, was like, yeah, I do look kind of retarded wearing this thing. And of course, everyone just starts laughing, and just enjoying everything. But again, that's it. That's just being like the friendly asshole and everything, And it got a bunch of laughs out of everything, and I ended up fucking one of the girls at that party later. First time I ever met her. But it's just that kind of stuff. It's like, you're not doing it out of like malice or hate or something like that. Everyone understands that you're like, you're just joking. You're just being like the lovable asshole and everything. And that's just how it goes.
100%. And you were more comfortable doing it because you're with your boys too. Like, I cannot emphasize how much, like, when you are just with your boys, try to like be a little more switched on, be a little bit more of a funny asshole. Like, practice, practice, practice. That's how it makes perfect. It's same 4th of July weekend. I was up in Cape Cod at a buddy's place, and his sister ended up trying to hook up with me. Now, I was with my girlfriend at the time and I declined, but the reason she was so into me was, one, oh, your older friend's brother, like, kind of scandalous, whatever. But also, like, I'm with my homies, but I'm still spouting off like all of my bullshit, all of the game, all of the confidence, because I internalized it. And then you literally at times will inadvertently be spitting game. And it's
Exactly.
just, it
Yes.
is,
It's
and
just second
that's
nature
where
to
you
you.
want to get.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a
that is
hundred
what,
percent
yeah.
true. That's so good. Yes, thank you. Yeah, absolutely true. It literally should just be second nature to you. Like you're just like walking around, you're even in like the grocery store or something. You should just be having like really good eye contact with like the cute cashier at the bar, or not the bar, at the register. Like, or even at the bar as well. Just have good eye contact, have good like playful back and forth and everything like that. It's not even that you're trying to like sleep with every girl you meet or something like that. I mean, even though you can if that's your prerogative, but it's just what you are. You just are the game. You're just walking around all the time. It's like, hey, this is what I am. What's your name? Oh, cute name. Give them the, I want to fuck you kind of eye contact and everything like that, and just be cool about it. It'll just be so second nature to you. You won't even realize that you're doing it. And then, like you were just describing, in some cases, you'll just get like propositioned by other girls in certain circumstances, and you're just like, oh shit, I wasn't even trying, but here it is. So, all right, might as well go for it.
For the record, I did not go for it.
Well,
I'm a
yes.
faithful man.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, at the end of the day, so much of this is just confidence and charisma, which anyone can learn. Um, and it's just like, if you are having trouble, go back to like the basic blocks, even like pre-red pill, like how to be more charismatic, how to be more confident, like basic things. Don't complain. Nobody likes someone who's bitching. Like, give compliments other than the people you're trying to fuck. Like, be nice to the fat girl who everyone knows you're not trying to fuck her, but like, if it, just be polite, be a funny asshole. And those, some might say those are contradictory. They're not at all.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you can
not at
be the
all.
person who is the nicest person to the waiter or waitress. You can be the nicest person to the bartender, and you're being a funny asshole making jokes about your friends.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. The distinction is being in a position of strength, man. I say this all the time when people talk about like simps or something like that. It's like, being nice to a woman, like paying on the first date or holding open the door for him or giving her a hug or kissing her on the forehead or something like that. Like, that's not simping if you're coming at it from a position of strength. You're just like, I'm not doing this because like I'm trying to woo you or something like that, or I'm really trying to qualify to you, or like begging on my hands and knees to get you to do what I want. It's like, no, it's just like, yeah, I feel like doing this. I'm gonna do it. I'm not really expecting anything from it. It's just what I do. Take it or leave it. Like there's no ulterior motive here. It literally just is when I am. It's like you could be nice to, like the fat girl at a party at a bar or something like that. Like, it just is what you are. You can be polite to the waiters, everything like that. Stonehat brings up a comment right here about female work colleagues and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, I mean, work is a little more sketchy these days just because of like, you don't shit where you eat kind of deal. But even if you're just not trying to screw people in your office, you're just pleasant, you're just kind, like you're polite, give them good eye contact, like you could be, joking and fun, not necessarily edgy because, you don't really want to be edgy in a workplace environment, at least at the start until you're really comfortable with people. But yeah, I mean, like you just don't turn this stuff off. It's not, we keep stressing it, and it seems like really far fetched to say, but like, you know, it just is what you are, man. And once it becomes second nature to you, You just adopt your whole new personality, and it is what you are.
Yeah, I'll just echo in the work profession because you and I are in different professions. Mine is very liberal, so I can keep like the game in terms of like joke, quote unquote joking, like nice jokes, like try to be the funny guy, try to be like the guy, oh like let's do happy out, like charismatic, doing the things people like. Um, but in work you do have to be much more careful in the modern age, especially depending on your profession. You can't, and this isn't so much game, but like part of my game is making those like slightly inappropriate jokes. Like earlier you mentioned about like, oh, I do look kind of retarded, just like offhand, like it is what it is. You got to be you got to have the self-awareness of your profession and be careful. um yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and a lot of it is just like self-proving. You can get away with it if people at work think you're funny and like you. You
yeah, that
can't if
too.
they have sticks up their ass. Like, sometimes you got to read the room.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, what we're talking about here is calibration, and it's one of the, excuse me, one of the most important tactics for you to learn, as a guy and all this kind of stuff is, there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time to bring up, really edgy, political memes and stuff like that or jokes. And there's a time for you to just be gentlemanly. There's a time for you to shut your mouth. There's a time for, for everything. And you're going to learn, you're going to screw up, especially like when you're getting into things like uh let's call it when you're like your first like real relationships after really like getting red pilled and stuff like that. You're going to want to relapse into, like blue pill conditioning. It's just part of the game. Like you've basically been fed, since you're a little kid, these nice guy behaviors, and it's going to be really hard to shed some of these things. So yeah, you're going to relapse, once you get a girl on the line and stuff like that, and it's going to blow up in your face, and you're going to learn. And you know what, just keep staying the course, man. Just keep working on it, keep honing your craft, and you're going to get there. you know
Absolutely. And like the whole just keep on it. Like, it's the same thing. It's people hear the phrase. I think more recently, more people have becoming cognizant of the fact that people get complacent in long-term relationships. That's natural. The guy stops buying flowers, the girl stops giving blowjobs. That's like the natural, like that is so common. That is, there's plenty of articles on that, whatever. You can't do it. Like the happiest relationship I've ever been in is my current one, and it has been the one where I have most internalized and most like kept up, like this is just who I am. I am
hmm
not going to change. Like, just because we get complacent does not mean I'm going to put away my boat and stop being the funny asshole making the effort at parties. Stop, like, it just, just make it yourself. Just, you're going to be a more funny and charismatic person. Like, there is no downside. It is not hard work. Like, the goal is to be more likable. At the end of the day, that's all this is being more
Yeah,
likable.
exactly. I mean, what we're talking about is, at the end of the day, we're just talking about social skills. Like it's just about you being a more pleasant person to be around, not just in your friendships, but also in your relationships. Because at the end of the day, if you're not enjoyable to be around, then a girlfriend isn't going to want to be with you, a wife isn't going to want to be with you, or friends, for lack of a better word, aren't going to be with you either. You just have to be a pleasant person to be around, and this is, just part of being a pleasant dude. Like you don't need to be the supplicating guy who's lighting himself on fire to keep everybody else warm. It's like, no, just enforce your boundaries. Know when to shut up in certain circumstances. Know when it doesn't really matter, when you want to be edgy or something like that. It's like the example I gave earlier, like just at the party. Like I'd fooled around with this girl before, and I didn't really care about what she was saying about like not liking a word, because I knew like in the long run of things, it's not like you know. One of the things I've really been stressing lately as well is like women don't really have like hard and fast principles and standards like men do in the same sense of things. Like for her, it's just something nice that you should be saying, and like it's something that sounds good, in her profession kind of deal. She's not like one of these like blue-haired feminazis, who's gonna get like all triggered by me saying this. I got like a weird stare and rolling of the eyes of her, and even she chuckled a little bit when everybody else started laughing, because she knew at the end of the day, it's like it's kayfabe basically, to use a wrestling term. It's like it's all fake. It's just something you like. It's something nice that you should be saying, and like you just poke fun at that, and again, it's just like a stand-up comedian, and it works wonders for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. Um, we got about 5 minutes left. I'm trying to think of like any one-off topics or tips on this in terms of just like being likable, doing likable things. I think one thing is if you have like a consistent group you hang out with, like what is that activity that gets the best vibes in that group? Like, for example, tomorrow we're going to be in my backyard playing, ladder golf, cornhole. Like, I have a fire pit. We're going to make a fire, all that stuff. Like, if the group loves whenever you do a beer pong tournament or you're playing cornhole or you go to this specific bar, be the guy to suggest things that people love. Be the positive guy who's excited to do the things people are excited to do. It's not hard. Like that is so easy to just like there are very basic things that anyone can do. Like I don't know how else to say it other than that. There's so many little things that you can do to make your life easier.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. It's, I mean, it just sounds far fetched. Like kind of when we're saying it, like we're, it must seem like we're moving at like a million miles a minute here to guys who just uninitiated in this kind of stuff. But like, you know, at first it seems like a daunting, like, Sisyphean task or scaling Mount Everest or something like that, to get good at this kind of stuff. But once you really get there, man, it's just second nature. It's just so easy, man. Like it's wild for us to like for us to talk about and like give examples without you just like getting in the trenches and doing it yourself. Like when you finally like hit a joke and like everyone laughs at it at the party, or like a girl like is really receptive to one of your approaches or something like that, like so much of this stuff really just connects for you, like in your brain. Like your mind is going to form those mental pathways and you're like, wow, this really isn't as hard as I've been making it. Like I've been trapped in this analysis paralysis and all this fucking male autism and stuff like this. And and really it's just as simple as that. As simple as just being likable.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. Like just the whenever you get that confirmation to know that this shit works. One of our mutual friends lives in Pittsburgh, is roommates with our other mutual friend here. I'll put his name in the private
Yeah,
for you
and
real
I
quick.
know I know who you're talking
Okay,
about.
yeah. So he was talking to this one girl who is in the same profession as me and him, very successful, very pretty girl, always has a bunch of dudes like hitting on her. And, they were hanging out and it was very clear she wanted attention. And he talked to me about it and he was like, "Hey, like your relationship's going really well. Like in the past, you seem to know what you're doing. Like, what do you think I should do?" And I told him, like, okay, if A, then B, if XYZ, then ABC, yada yada yada. Um, Basically just like, okay, she likes attention. Everything you know about her is that she likes attention, blah blah blah. Here's how you deal with that. And it's amazing whenever I see him and talk to him about her and seeing like the light switches in his head as this has gone so well for him and he has been getting ass while her still liking him despite her having a ton of other options. And he just like every time I see him I'm like, how's so and so? And he's like, dude, I everything you said is just working. And this is like his origin of understanding how this stuff works. And it's beautiful to see. It really is. Like once this stuff is internalized, you're going to either experience it yourself or you're going to explain it to a buddy and it's going to work for them, or X, Y, and Z. Like you're just going to see it over and over and it's going to become easier and easier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like I don't know if anyone's seen that old movie like They Live. The guy puts on the glasses and sees all the ghosts and the zombies like living under the skin of the real people.
I know
You
the
know,
meme template. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's literally just that, man. Or like you see like the wizard behind the curtains and the Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. It's just like, once you see it and then once you put the crucially, very crucially, like we were saying, you fake it, but you got to make sure you make it. And that means actually going out in the trenches and trying out this kind of stuff and being comfortable with rejection, being comfortable with failing, being comfortable with, getting laughed at and having imposter syndrome and all this kind of stuff. But you'll get there, man. Like nothing that's easy, nothing that's good in life comes for free. Like you got to put work into it, and you'd be surprised. Like 6 months, you could totally radically change yourself and get super successful and set yourself on the right path. And like, dude, 6 months is a fucking blimp in your lifetime, man. It's a blink of the eye. Like you'd be surprised how quickly you can make changes.
Dude, literally any guy who over the course of 6 months improves their career, goes to the gym 4 days a week, and reads a few books on charisma is going to just be so much better off. Like it is so just find some good books or listen to more literature about charisma generally, and all of this becomes like that is the foundation you need to apply any of the red pill principles at all, in my opinion. Is you do need that foundational charisma. Um, and you need that confidence. That confidence is easier once you have a better job, once you're working out more, et cetera, et cetera. Like all of this stuff goes hand in hand. Like at the end of the day, think about, what should a young adult male be? Like if you think about like what would you want your son to be? What do you want you to be? Like you want to be fit, you want to have a good job, you want to be confident, have a firm handshake. Like all of that is the foundation. And then knowing these principles when you have that foundation makes game incredibly easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, confidence comes from competence, so like getting good and being successful at things just naturally makes you more confident. It's like it's a feedback loop, you know.
I've
Um
never heard that phrase, but that's so good. What is it? Competence breeds confidence.
yeah.
That's yeah. I couldn't say it better. It's so funny to me whenever you throw out these phrases that are, they're just in your spheres and you know them, and I'm like, wow, that's so perfect for what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean like if you're like even like halfway switched on, like a lot of this material should sound familiar to you, even though you can't put it into words. Like I was very similar to that when the first time I picked up Raul Tomasi's book, The Rational Male. It's like the way I like to describe it to people is like I was shooting guns for the longest time without actually understanding the inner machinations of the way a firearm works. And like once you understand why certain things work, you're like, oh wow, like all these dots like connected way more, and now I'm able to hone my craft a lot easier because like I understand the underlying principles of why certain things are good and why certain things work. But yeah, I mean, like if you have like any modicum of success, none of this stuff should be like a super big surprise to you. And even if it is, who cares, man? Like we said, you could change it. So
Yeah. Yeah, and whether it's that gun analogy, whether it's my chess analogy earlier, whether it's knowing the fucking meta in a video game. Like everything in your life, like it's not just random bullshit. Like there are reasons why things are the way they are. There are rules to games. There are reasons why people act the way they act in settings. Like all of this stuff does make sense and is correct. It just is.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a good place for us to end right there. Shilling's out of the way. This guy's worthless. He's got nothing to shill. But for myself, like I said, Man's Hour on Thursdays. Be sure to tune into that. Be sure to share the stream. I want to get it up to 1,000 subscribers, so we can finally monetize this shit. So that'll always be fun. We can finally get some super chats in here. So share far and wide with your friends, with your enemies, with everybody. And then be on the lookout for the Substack to be coming out soon. Like I said, I gave you guys a little bit of a teaser about something I'm working on, but be on the lookout for that. But all
Hey,
right.
I'm gonna show my Twitter. I have 7 followers, and I will probably tweet once like a month. So I will not clutter up your feed, but everything I tweet will be fucking gold. So
Yeah,
go
yeah,
follow me. Yeah,
yeah. Not likely. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
our Twitter rows back and forth are the only thing that's worth
I pretty much only
watching
comment
you.
on
So
on your shit, or if I see some stupid ass take that you commented on, I'll go and roast the guy. So
yeah, there's a lot of stupid. There's no shortage of stupid takes on Twitter. So but all right, cool. Thanks for coming on, man, as always, and I'll see
hey,
you
I'll see.
tomorrow.
Yeah, wow. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, buddy. Bye.
See ya.